Hello? Yeah. Well, what we'll do, Kyle, is we'll start with a few opening remarks and then pass it over to the board to address a number of issues. Then we'll open it up to the audience for questions. Hopefully in our intro and our explanation of a few points, we'll be able to cover some of the key topics that are of concern to you. And anything that we don't address, by all means, bring your question forward and we'll clarify or elucidate. We'll start off with Tina Tucker, who's going to talk to you about the bylaw issue. We've had some questions on that, and we're trying to address the things that we know are out there in the public domain that certainly need addressing. So, Tina.
Can you hear me? So, anyone who has served on a board, and in particular the governance committee, knows how much fun bylaws are, right? Everybody wants to be on the bylaw committee. So, just have a little story to tell you about what transpired between our 2014 bylaws and our 2016 bylaws. We've been using outdated bylaws. Unbeknownst to any of us in recent years of board members, we were using what we were given, and we can get into those details a little more as we go. But what happened was we found out just this March 20th, thanks to our executive director, Jerry, with her eye on detail and due diligence, she said, "Oh, hey guys, I have news for you. You've been using the wrong bylaws." So between March 20th and over the last several weeks, we're working as volunteers as fast as we can to find a resolution to lining those up and using them correctly, moving ahead in the future. So anyone who's worried about us being in compliance, you don't have to worry about anything. We're in good shape. The society's in good shape with the registry of joint stock companies. They allow for extensions on, like for example, December year ends. It's not, we contacted them, they're aware, there's going to be a little delay, not a problem. So just for starters, we wanted you to know that, and that we are looking at revisions perhaps for work as the governance committee goes on. Anything else to add, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, if I can add something. I just wanted to add about the December year end. We have been operating on a March 31st year end, which has been in practice for years. I've been on the board for about 4.5 years, and we've always had a March 31 year end. So that's the actual fiscal year end for the Astor. So we're not in default in any way with the joint stocks filings or with the CRA. So everything's perfectly aligned with that.
Okay, one of the other major issues that we've heard from a number of you in the community and from a group that is representing, they say, the community at large, of concerns that haven't been addressed and that have become of concern. A lot of this started with the arrival of Jerry Southgate in the Astor, Southcott, sorry, and a lot of things happened fairly quickly as a result of a couple of things that occurred, which have been conflated to the point where people are confused. What happened? Who did what? What's the real story? So that's one of the reasons we're here to tell you. And one of the big issues was the change of direction in the Astor Theatre. The things that we had been doing for literally decades, very successfully through some very, very competent people, that things have changed. They're not the same as they used to be. And we would ask the question of that group, what do you mean? We see no change in the direction of the Astor Theatre in terms of our instructions to Jerry and how she should operate as the executive director. There's been no change in our strategic plan or our mission or values. So we feel that things have been going along quite well and will continue to go along quite well. And we would hope that the community would trust that whatever has occurred, and we can get into some of those details, is just something that happened along the way. It's not a pattern. It's not a change in direction. There's no regime change. We're very happy with what's been happening, and we've got some wonderful plans in the works, as you see. So we hope to continue what has been the success of the Astor, using community members, volunteers, as many people who are interested in coming in and joining in that. And I don't know, Jerry, do you have anything you would like to add to that? Okay, I upstaged her, sorry. So I think moving along on that specific issue, one of the key questions, and I'm sure Jerry will want to chime in on this, is the hiring of a family member. That's been mentioned many times. And we would suggest that this has happened quite frequently in the past. It's part of the pattern of the Astor Theatre that wherever you can find your support, whether it's paid or volunteer, there's always an opportunity to bring in what you think are the best people at that time for that particular project. And I know I've talked to some people like Chris Snarby, for example, who's who preceded me as chair of the board, and he's informed us that many times there was a situation where a staff member was paid, a volunteer was paid, and not a salary, typically an honorarium. It wasn't universal, but it's been going on for years. So because that's continued in a couple of situations, there's been criticisms that you shouldn't hire staff, or you shouldn't hire family, and you shouldn't be paying them. But this is just a continuation of the basic pattern that the Astor has had for quite a number of years. So it's not something to be concerned with. Obviously, if it gets excessive, people have a right to say, well, what's happening? And, we'll deal with it. But for now, nothing has changed in terms of who's hired to do what, who's paid, and where they come from. And we can deal with some of those specific issues as we get into it in the question period. So that's basically the opening comments that I have. Hang on, I just have, Anne has a few comments she'd like to make on a couple of issues.
Well, I really just want to make one comment. I mean, the members of the Astor Theatre Society, which are all those people who pay their $5 for the membership every year, they shall follow the acts of the Memorandum of Association of the Society. And in that Memorandum of Association of the Society, the number one object that you must follow is to promote the literary, educational, artistic, and recreational development of Queens County and the South Shore. I need to make that point. It's not just Queens County. We are here for the South Shore. That's important.
Thanks, Anne. And to support that, we have statistics which we can share with you that of our last 7 or 8 significant concerts or productions, at least half have come from outside of Queens County. They come from all over the province. Thank you. And that's an important thing to note because we want to be all-inclusive. I mean, yes, our base is here in Queens County. Most of our volunteers come from Queens County, not all. We want to capture the tourist dollar that's coming through. We want to make, because the Astor is such an icon in the community, well known across Canada and in the US, we want this to become a destination so people come to the South Shore, visit the theater, visit other of our great tourist attractions, and that adds significant volume to us. And with those statistics that we determined, if 50% of people come from out of town, 50% of people are eating in our restaurants, they're occupying hotel rooms, they're buying gas, they're doing all the things that people from away would be expected to do. So we're very pleased with that, and we want to encourage that and make that as widespread as we possibly can. So on that basis, let's start with the questioning. What we'd like to do, as Kyle said, if you have a question, if you'd like to step forward, State your name and where you're from, and just answer your question and ask your question, and then we'll go from there. Who'd like to start off?
And if anybody needs a mic brought to them, I can bring the one down from the front as well.
Yes, if anyone has any accessibility issues or they'd like to be kept private. And we should also mention that this is being recorded, and it will be posted on our Facebook page after the meeting later today. Thank you. Hello.
Hi, my name is Kate Wong. My daughters are, they usually see Ashley for her theater group. And my question is why it was such short notice where parents who have children or live far away, obligations, why it was such short notice when we could have had more time and more people to represent our questions.
Yeah. For this meeting, you mean?
For this meeting, correct.
Yeah, well, I should have addressed that at the outset, and I apologize. We weren't originally planning on having a town hall meeting. We had a meeting scheduled with a group representing the advocates, as they call themselves, of the community for Thursday. We're a small group of them, along with a small group of us, were scheduled to sit down, discuss all of these issues, and decide, what we should do moving forward. The goal, I'm sure, of their group and our group, and I don't like to think of it as their and our, we're all the same family. We're just having a little bit of a misunderstanding amongst us. That meeting was canceled. It was canceled at the last meeting, at the last minute by them. We don't know why, but they said, no, we're not going to be at the meeting. So we felt that we had to get a message out to the community to address some of these things which we thought were miscommunications, misconceptions, things that people did not know the context of why they came about. So that's why we were hoping that this would do it even with such short notice, that we get enough people out, that there would be some sense of representation in the community as to what the real answers are from our perspective that they can pass on to friends and neighbors. We've received a bunch of questions online from people, and we will get to those as well as soon as possible.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Who's next? Oh, okay, we've got a lady on the side here.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Betsy Hart, longtime supporter of this wonderful theater. In fact, I brag about it everywhere. Part of the brag, yeah, thanks.
Keep it up.
I will, perhaps. I've got to get a little context on something you just said. I'll just point out that in 1981, I moved here. Promptly got dragged into a show and loved it. I had been involved in theater in Halifax, so I had some context on what a theater should be, how it may perform. These guys were wonderful, very professionally done, great theater. Theater needed lots of work, like hammer and nail kind of work. Locals did that. We donate. We come and we say, okay, I can't do much today, but I'll be here tomorrow. That's how this building was preserved. It is how this society was built. And it's how I'd like it to continue. So I'm very happy to share it with others on the South Shore. But it's a Liverpool theater. This is part of our history here. I come from away, 50 years ago, but I come from away. And as I travel, and some of you will know, when you move here, I say, have you been to the theater yet? And for years, I badgered Chris Ball. Please do tours. Take people in the underbelly of this theater. Tell them to stand right there. You don't need a mic if you stand right there. You stand right there and you turn out here and you say, hi everyone, how are you today? That's the beauty of this theater. So it is a Liverpool theater. It is a Queens County historic building. It is the Liverpool Theatre Society. It is an international theatre festival in Liverpool. Thank you for saying "and" South Shore. But that's the part I see is not happening. I'm concerned when I see the Quality Academy program being diverted into something else. I'm concerned when I see credible members of our society who are sticking out their necks to say, wait a second, there's a change that happened when we were told, when the new director came on board, we will not be making changes soon. That quote from Rick Conrad's article on QCCR. You need to have, in any successful business, at least 100 days of new management before you make any changes. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Okay, I think I understand your question, but just to clarify, you're concerned that the Liverpool theatre, the Astor, is being expanded beyond Liverpool inappropriately?
No, I think quite appropriately, we've always welcomed everybody to come perform here. You performed your plays here before, so no. What I see is a diversion of the focus. That if, and I'm going to use Ashley's name here, so if the Ashley Rose position was dismantled, I mean, I witnessed the magic in this theater. I don't have any little children, but the magic changed in this theater when Ashley was running those programs. So I realize that's a personnel management, and I know way over 2 minutes. I'm a math person. But the concern I have is if there's going to be a refocus on spreading our wings, that's great. But the center of the focus still has to be on the activities in this building. So winds of change, local theater, etc. And I'm hearing that that's not the case. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. It is a very good question, and I can see the concern online and here in the room. I'd like to clarify that there is no change in direction planned. There were no changes made. We did have a change in personnel, as you mentioned. When Ashley resigned, we respectfully accepted her resignation, and then we did our best to get the show on the road by posting positions and filling them and putting together a production team and getting some kids. We have a group of kids who are really excited. We have a production team that's working really well together, which is a combination of people from Liverpool and people, I don't know where everyone lives, to be honest, but they're collaborating and making it happen. But we are wide open to more volunteers, more cast members. All of the people here in Liverpool and Queens County are more than welcome to be involved. We were simply just getting the next production on the go. And we do have Christopher Snarby here as part of the production team, who could also add to that.
For me, I don't need that. I'll finish off because I've been here long enough. But those are great. I think that's fine. I have no issue with that whatsoever. The issue I have is this is a community-based theater, and I'm getting an impression that there are many people who no longer feel that even though they've got huge sweat equity in this place, that they no longer feel that they're part of it. I'm not interested in hearing that, I apologize for saying that, but I've heard plenty of times in what's written here, as well as you're saying it now, that you are invested in the community, but you've not been here long enough to know what this community is. And I would like 100 days before those changes are made. That's all I'm asking. And I don't see any conflict, personally, in having the magical atmosphere that Ashley fostered here for those many months, and whatever other project you're doing that comes from somewhere else on the South Shore.
Sorry, just to clarify, it's not coming from anywhere else on the South Shore. This is coming from the Astor Theatre, and the kids involved are all from the area. I don't think we have anyone who's not from here. And just to clarify, I am really invested in the community and getting to know the community better. I attended the Chamber of Commerce event. I have been out and I've been here actually every weekend with my husband, shopping and eating in restaurants, getting to know the neighbors, getting to know people. We have thought about moving here. We have looked at houses. We have talked to our real estate agents. I am 100% behind you when it comes to community, and think it is very important for somebody in this position to network and be involved in the community.
And that's great. I'm not asking you. That's a little bit part of my complaint. My complaint is, wait the 100 days. And I don't care if you move here or not, and that's not an insult. I live in the middle of the woods, hardly anyone even knows who I am.
We want to
So,
try to keep this
just-
very respectful. as
Yeah,
well. This is,
I think I'm being respectful. I'm just saying, then I do apologize. Okay,
Okay.
just, so,
it doesn't
Thank you.
matter.
I think
okay, just give me 1 second, then I will apologize if it's been taken as being disrespectful. I do not mean it in that way at all. I'm saying that the theater has always been very welcoming of everybody. I just would like us to slow down, and maybe I'm misinformed.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Those,
you.
those are good points. Thank you very much for that, and I appreciate your candor in bringing them up. We have, on the board, have been examining the whole situation and, what went wrong, who went wrong, where are the mistakes, all that kind of stuff. And I personally believe that someone who is in a new job should not be judged by their first few actions, because they're going to make some mistakes. Judge people by the body of work over a period of time. If it's the 100 days, if it's 3 months, 6 months, whatever it might be, a pattern will emerge as to whether they are effectively filling that role or not. And all we ask is for some patience to allow Jerry to work her magic.
I'll just make one short comment. One of the things that we liked about Jerry when we interviewed her twice was that she said her personal goal was to make sure no child in particular, was ever left out. And no matter if they could sing or dance or whatever, that they would be involved. If they wanted to be involved, they would be involved. That's all of Liverpool. That's all of Liverpool, and it's all of Queens County. And I guess I failed to sort of see where that is not taking place.
Thanks, Ann. And one further comment, just to clarify the previous questioner. We agree that the Astor Theatre is a Liverpool-based theatre. It's a Queens County organization. Most of our members come from Queens County. Most, but not all of our volunteers come from Queen Counties. I would make one point though. The 50% of the people that attend our events are the ones that keep this place alive. There's a financial significance. So, what we talk about at the board level and with staff is getting bums in seats. We can't always expect Liverpool to support us 100% of the time. There's economic realities, there's timing differences. If we can draw people from away, no matter how far or how near, that's all to the betterment of the theatre. Thank you. Next person.
Thank you. My name is Katerina Corcoran, and I was part of the Follies the last 3 months, or 5 months, I guess. And so my only concern is that I don't understand why, after we had such a magical show, really, which was filled with professionalism and really amazing guidance from a lot of people in this production, that after the show, everything just collapsed. And I think that was the main thing, what people didn't understand, what actually happened. How can this happen? And I try to figure out both sides, and I'm not taking any sides. It's just, for me personal, this is a theater, and there should be winds of change on this theater. There should be Ashley with her kids on the theater, and there can be in the future the South Shore Theater Group. I don't care. It should be an inclusive place for everybody, and everybody should respect that. And if somebody like Ashley can bring so many kids out and produce such an amazing show, everybody should get back to the table and really talk. And I don't know what was all said and by whom it was said, but it's just a shame that how it went down after we had such a great time. It was just amazing.
Well, that's a great question. Thank you very much. I have a partial answer to why I think things came so unglued following Follies. One of the mistakes made, and Jerry clearly admits it now, she did not understand, was the payment of the bill for the cast party to be at the curling club. When she said, no, we don't pay for those kinds of things, we're a non-profit, there was an immediate uproar from the 70 cast members and other interested community members. Jerry has since realized that that probably was ill-timed. Again, a mistake by someone new on the job. She will be reaching out to key stakeholders in the community who we have identified. So in the future, any significant decision that looks like it might be a little controversial, she will seek some guidance. Not that she's not going to take complete charge. We wanted a decisive leader. She is that in spades. But she recognizes that in some cases she may need to just take a sober second thought and decide where to go from there. To answer the second part of your question, can I have a show of hands from the board members up here on the stage who wants to see, at some point, under the right circumstances, Ashley Rose back, Winds of Change back, and a possible merger with SSST? So SSST is the South Shore Summer Theater. So we want all of this to happen. The fact that it came so unglued so quickly is very unfortunate. We had a merger with Winds of Change. It came unglued because between the time the two boards had agreed that they would merge back in mid-2023, there was supposed to be a series of things to happen. Terms of reference, boards of directors, plans on how we would work together. That never happened. I mean, Jean Robinson Dexter was trying her best to get everything pulled together. It didn't happen. And then, of course, this happened with Follies. Yeah. So on that basis, so SSST was planned as a possible merger. We talked about it when we first hired Jerry to avoid any potential for a conflict of interest with her running two organizations. That was on the drawing board, but with all of this thing that's happened recently, it's been kind of shelved for now. But that's not to say that it won't come back. We'd love to see Ashley back in the theater.
Okay. Great to hear, and I hope there will be many more following conversations with all parts of the, what we just talked with Winds of Change, with Ashley, with the board, to make that happen, because I think that's what most people are here for, I think.
Yeah.
To see that openness and to not shut anybody out or, change a very well working community. And Winds of Change has done, you just look on the back wall, has done magic in this theater, and that's definitely something that there shouldn't be no alienizing between the two. It should be one, and that's just,
Okay.
and it should be
Thank
recognized.
you for that. And
Yeah,
that's our
thank
plan.
you.
That's our goal. The sooner we can make it happen, the better we'll all feel.
Thank you.
Really clear. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
No, Katrina, thank you very much. I just wanted to clarify the Winds of Change is they put on productions. The SSST, there was the South Shore Summer Theater. They put on a production here in the summer. Ashley Rose has her own theater production company. And we, as the Astor, have an academy for the youth as well. So these are all integral in what makes this place come alive. So we don't see the conflict, because each one of them will draw its own talent and its own production teams and its own they provide their activity to the community. So we don't see any conflict in any of that. So when we talk about the Winds of Change having merged with us and then they're not with us, they always have been part of this, and they will continue to be part of this. And Ashley, if she puts on productions and she wants to use the theater for that, so be it. There's nothing stopping that. So nothing's really fundamentally changed. So whenever we think of something change, it hasn't, because that's just the way it is. We haven't changed anything.
So just to follow up on Katarina's comment there, being a part of the Winds of Change myself and being a co-actor in Follies and being led by Ashley in every right direction during this show, we want nothing more than to keep that going and get back everything that we've worked so hard to have. The thing is, currently right now, we still want to provide theater. We still want to be there for the kids. We still want to provide that community that you all know and love. So that's what we're trying to do currently while we work through this situation. It's not the best of ideals right now, but that's what we're working towards, and we're doing our best to make sure that we maintain what we have in this theater. I know you've probably all seen me on stage. I don't want to lose any of that, and I want to be able to still keep that going. So we are working towards making sure that that is still our main operation and mission, is to keep the community theater, keep the children involved, the youth involved, the adults in the community involved. That is our main mission and goal.
Thank you, Mother. By the way, Malcolm just celebrated his 22nd birthday, and I think 21 of those years have been here. So, just to clarify, there certainly will be some issues to, work through with Ashley and the other items we've mentioned. The goal is there to do it as expeditiously as possible, but when emotions, are high, and everybody's sort of taking a stand, leaning in different directions, we need to calm things down, and that's one of the things we were hoping to do here, so that people will come to realize that, it's one of the questions that was asked online. It says, what is so heinous about the things that are going on that we need to replace the board, which is the intent, as you know, of one of the groups. And we would question that and say, we don't know. We don't know. So we were hoping to sort of reveal all of these things now and bring them out into the light so people can make their decisions as to what direction they would like the Astor and this board and our current staff to go in. Keep going as we are, or disrupt it and change things significantly. We don't want any of that. Right? The question was, is there anyone here from that group who would like to address that concern?
I just wanted to know, there's constant reference, I don't normally mean I'm so loud. There is so much said about this group and what their concerns are, and I've been following it online for a month. And as a former board member and also the interim manager of the Astor Theater, people have been messaging, texting me, asking me if I can tell them what's going on, and I can't. And although I know a lot of people in that group, the new group, and I'm friends with some of them on Facebook, the constant stream of info has actually told me nothing except that in their view, something dreadful, big, awful has happened. And those are quotes. And the word whistleblower and backroom deals and, it's just been incredibly dramatic. And I can't, after all this time and after asking several people directly online and in person, what is the beef? We can't tell you. We've been told to be quiet. They're going to sue us. So I still don't know what the problem is. Sorry, I didn't write this, didn't think I was going to speak. But until they know what the issue is, and until the community knows what the crimes committed are, besides the ones that have been mentioned here, how can this move forward? And tomorrow night is essentially, if I've understood correctly, a call to arms, and also to get people who have never been on the Astor board, and possibly have only been involved through their children or Winds of Change, to become active what's called a member on the Astor Theatre Society, which gives them some control to vote. So the plan, if I've understood it, is to get as many people on the board as possible so that they can then vote. If they attend tomorrow's meeting and become a member, they're thinking, and I don't know whether it's true or not legally, that's for someone else, but their thinking is that if people attend that meeting tomorrow night, that will constitute one meeting attended in relationship to the Astor Theatre Society, and that will in turn give them the ability to vote fully at the AGM when they attend as a member. So,
we're at the 2-minute mark.
Sorry, yeah. I could go on and on, trust me, but...
So, you know, we started in the opening remarks to make sure everybody knew that the bylaw differences are between 2014 and 2016. And as I said, unbeknownst to us, 2016 is the actual version. In that version, it does ask that members who attend the AGM and wish to vote will have attended at least one previous meeting. Okay. We didn't make up these bylaws. These were created in 2016. The way I look at that is, this is silly stuff. All you have to do is call me or call someone on the board, send an email. How are we going to handle this? We've never handled it before. Let's get together and talk about it. But unfortunately, that meeting tomorrow night is not a legitimate meeting in terms of it being an Astor Theatre Society meeting. But out of respect for the members who want it to happen, you know, we're all busy people, they've scheduled time, maybe some of you have scheduled time, we are all going to be there. John is going to chair the meeting, we're all going to be there to answer questions, but we're going to take their agenda items one by one, and if they don't fit with the bylaws and fall in line with the Societies Act, which we didn't make up, we can't address them. But we can have an honest discussion about why these bylaws have become such an incredible issue. You know, we've heard talk about misinformation. I've heard things like, the Astor is going to lose its nonprofit status. I promise you, the registry will not be putting a big red piece of plastic across the door shutting us down. And you know, there's other things about we're not doing our fiduciary duty. Well, fiduciary means more than money. It's the care we take, it's the ethics we have. This board works so hard. I've been on lots of boards. This is a terrific board. And the pressure, and the staff, sorry. And the pressure that we've all been dealing with while also trying to figure out how to best implement the bylaws has been tremendous. But I think we're getting through it. The best thing to do would just simply be to call a special meeting through the right process, which is to request a meeting to the chair. The board runs the meeting. These are Astor Society meetings. We are the current board. So that's something, if there's anyone in the audience, if there's legal advice floating around I don't know about, I want to hear it. Let's have that conversation. This is your chance. What is the issue? We can't, when I say we, I mean Anne is the chair of the governance committee. We've got our guru in the audience, Virginia. Kevin Caldwell was a part of the governance committee up until like a minute ago. Sorry? Oh, okay. Well, okay, no, that's fine, and I understand that, and they're unfortunate situations. You have every right to ask a question about it, okay? But I just want to finish off, and John will include it in his final comments at the end of the town hall, that we hope everybody attends the meeting tomorrow night to become more informed and to talk. But it's not going to get you that vote, okay? We're going to have to schedule, we'll work it out. It doesn't have to be a lengthy meeting. It can be a 20-minute meeting where we all get together with an agenda item that suits the bylaws and the policies of the board, and we'll take it from there. No one doesn't want to deny you a vote. It's just not true.
Thank you, Tina. And just to clarify that, Kevin is not here to answer the question why he quit. His public statement is that he disagreed with the direction of the board, and I think what we've already said is there's been no change in the direction of the board. He'd objected, as any board member can, to certain issues that are discussed in camera, but nothing that affects the overall operation of the Astor Theatre, or in my mind merits resigning and taking a very militant stand. That's part of the problem where we've come apart in terms of his perception and the advocates that are following him in debating the merits of the Astor's problems. The only way we can survive through that is through dialogue, open communication. He's often mentioned that in his messages, we need open communication. We've never opposed that. We didn't cancel the meeting on Thursday. If we could get a group of that group and ourselves together in a room and just say, okay, where do we want to go from here? Let's figure it out. Let's massage things. Let's course correct if necessary. But to completely try to throw out the board, which is their goal, is, I don't know, that's hunting rabbits with an elephant gun. I don't think they need to go there. Any? Okay.
And I just...
Sorry, I think Marsh has a question.
Yeah, if I can just add, and I think we can't negotiate through social media and Facebook comments.
Thank you. We appreciate that because we truly believe that. Let's keep Facebook for exchanging birth dates. Marcia, you had a question?
I don't know if I need the mic or not, but okay. My question is to you, but I'm going to face the audience.
Sure. Yep. Fair enough.
Okay. All right. I don't know if I should be up here because I am really outraged at what's going on and disappointed. I've been a teacher for 33 years. I love children. I have witnessed their growth and their excitement in Ashley's presentations, programs, summer camps, and such. Yes, you can always replace people. However, Kevin, who was on the board until a few, days ago, he resigned for the same reason that my husband, Craig Hardy, resigned. He did. You're not speaking. I am. Well, I'm being nice. All right.
We want to keep this respectful.
She's interrupting me. So you talk to her.
I'm just letting everybody know we're going to be respectful.
All right.
Or it's going to change.
Ashley made a mistake. Before she made the mistake, my opinion is that Jerry Southcott made a mistake that infuriated Ashley to the point where she unwisely expressed her frustration and her disappointment to a local person who then came to the Astor Theatre and basically attacked verbally the board or staff, I guess. I wasn't there for all this, so I can only say what I've heard, but I have done a lot of investigating to try to figure out what is the root of the problem. Ashley made the mistake That was her big mistake.
We need the question.
Of going to
Mark.
somebody in the community and expressing her frustration, because in Ashley's opinion, and I wish she was
We
here.
need a question for the two.
Okay, the
members.
question is, why did you deny Ashley Rose the democratic right to have a meeting? There was a meeting scheduled. There was a meeting scheduled with Ashley Rose and the board. The day before the meeting was canceled. Jerry and everybody else, including Malcolm and Katie, I guess, had their opportunity to present their case to the Astor board. Ashley's meeting was canceled. Why was that meeting canceled? The board had already passed the decision that Ashley would have her fair chance to speak. Is that not a reasonable democratic procedure? You talk about having everybody have their say. She did not have her say.
Not sure you can let us answer your question.
Well, yeah, I would like an answer.
Okay.
And I might want to rebuttal.
Well, let me explain what happened. As you know, as we all realize, things happened very quickly. A small mistake was made by one side. It was aggravated by the other side. A stance was taken. A big mistake was made when Ashley decided that she no longer wanted to stay as an employee. She wanted to become an entrepreneur. So she basically resigned. Nobody pushed her out. Nobody pushed her out. She resigned. And we have paper evidence of all of this, so let's not get into a he said, she said thing. But we agreed to meet with her, and within hours, and I mean literally within hours of her visiting her friend and talking to people in the community, our Facebook page exploded. And I mean exploded. As Laura says, litigating in public media is not the way to do it. And we decided at that time it was not appropriate to meet with her while the community was so inflamed. We've since tried to reach out to her. Marcia, you know we've done that. We've tried to meet. I tried to call her twice that afternoon when she resigned. We've tried to reach out to her since then. She's refused. So, all we want to do is get together with the appropriate people and explain the situation and discuss back and forth. We're not taking a firm, hard stand on any particular item. We just want to be able to find a compromise that everyone is going to be comfortable with. It'll take some time. There's been some scar tissue created. We need to make sure that people not only understand what we're planning to do or hoping to do in reconciliation, if you will, but they're going to need time in order to trust it. Nothing makes things better other than the passage of time, as long as everybody is on the same page with the same goal. And that's all we ask. This community and the meeting tomorrow night, that people will understand that we want to get something done. Oh, sorry, we have another question over here.
My name is Lori Smythe. We've been volunteers at the Astor for almost 3 years since we moved here, and we have 2 children who have attended Astor Theater camps and have been involved in performances here, and are currently involved in Seussical. I just want to say, as a parent, I've been really impressed with the team. I am very grateful that there is a group of people who want to develop community theater for the youth in this town. My question is, I think some of the parents are concerned. Our kids are stressed. They love the theater and they love the Astor. And with meetings that are happening tomorrow and meetings all over the place, how is this going to affect their ability to finish the production that they have started, and their ability to just be able to continue with the Seussical and not lose that production? Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. I think that this whole situation has taken a toll on the board, the staff, but even more importantly, I'm realizing the effects that it's having on your children, and it's heartbreaking. I can tell you that we are committed as a production team, Malcolm, Christopher, Kim, Shane, Karenza, all of us here are committed to the kids and committed to providing this type of programming free of charge to everybody to access. It doesn't matter your economic status, it doesn't matter where you live. We want you to be able to access this programming. Every day that my heart is heavy trying to combat some of the attacks on the board, the attacks on me personally, I come to rehearsal, I'm getting a little emotional, I promised I wouldn't, and I feel better. I feel better because these kids are so incredibly talented, they're nice, they are working together really well as a team, and the production team is also really, they've become our family, and I am committed to continuing that. So I hope that all of this can be resolved quickly.
Thank you, Jerry. I think you get a sense of the passion that Jerry brings to the job, as well as her expertise, and hopefully we can give her a chance to, as we say, work her magic in the theater. Are there any other questions? Okay, please come forward.
I taught 36 years, so I My name is Jane Mullen, and Marshall, I see you Sorry, Marcia, I'll see you're 33 years, and I'm adding 3 to it. I've taught 36 years, and basically right up to the last year of my retirement, starting when John Bird ran this theater, I put on a play every year. So I am very strongly connected to the passions that are being expressed here, especially for the young people. As an aside, I've often said to anyone who'd listen, I think Ashley managed to target an age group that no one else would touch with a barge pole. Just saying that. It's like having a birthday party for 40 kids for 4 weeks. But having said that, I don't think this is the venue or the forum to discuss personalities or personnel issues. I'm here for clarification of one word, and it's scaring me to the core until I find and make sure we're defining this word with basically the same concept and understanding, and it's that little word merger that keeps getting, and I want to know how you're defining it, what's your vision of a merger, I just keep hearing, we are going to merge with, and I just want to know what shape that's supposed to take, and you have to be very, very sensitive, and I do welcome you to Queens County. You have to be very sensitive for practically everybody in this audience. This is our baby. And there's a very strong sense of possession here. So if you could define or enlighten me as to what you're talking or meaning by merger.
Thank you. I never liked that word either, and I feel like there is just confusion when it comes to that word. As far as South Shore Summer Theatre goes, there have been some discussions with this board. There is also another board, and that is the Board of South Shore Summer Theatre. I think that there's some confusion about what South Shore Summer Theatre is. It's not Winds of Change. It's not at all the same as Winds of Change. It's not at all the same as Mersey Rose Theatre Company. It is actually just one production a year. The production team is pulled together, not unlike the one that Susan Cole was pulled together for. In the spring, it's a non-profit that draws from youth all across the South Shore. In fact, a good portion of the cast last year in Pippin came from Liverpool. So suffice to say, I don't think that the word merger was the right word. Not at all a merger. It was simply, could we provide similar programming in the summer at the Astor Theatre and dissolve South Shore Summer Theatre as a non-profit and offer the same kind of programming free of charge here at the Astor Theatre as part of the Astor Academy. That's a possibility. We are not there yet. The timing is not right. As was mentioned earlier, I report to a board here, and I also report to a board for South Shore Summer Theatre. And for now, we remain renters on the South Shore Summer Theatre part, and can tell you that it's brought in approximately $10,000 in revenue to the Astor Theatre over the last 2 summers.
I just want to say, before we hired Jerry, we had entered into a conversation with Winds of Change regarding their coming under the umbrella, I won't call it a merger, coming under the umbrella of the Astor Theatre, because they as well had their own board. They were struggling at the time, and so we met with their board. We had conversations around that, and they felt that they could come in if there were certain criteria to come in, and that was about they would control their production, what they wanted to put on. They would have a restricted account under the Astor funds, and the monies raised during those productions would go back into the restricted account for subsequent productions, which is what we did with Follies. When we were interviewing Jerry, we talked to her about South Shore Summer Theatre, and we said, a lot of kids come from Liverpool. You're just a one-shot pony. You know, you have a show with the kids in the summertime. Would your board, you know, because they were struggling on their board as well, just as Winds of Change had been struggling, is that something you would think about coming under our umbrella, under the same terms and conditions, if you will, not properly all drawn up, I'll give it that, but the intent was we would consider that. We'd consider bringing them in, and they would have a restricted account, and they would work much like the Winds of Change work. That was our conversation before we even hired Jerry. So I just want to make it clear that that was not Jerry coming in and saying, I'm going to bring in South Shore Summer Theatre. It was us talking to her about that. We were just in initial conversations with their board about whether they thought, just like the Winds of Change board, that might be something they would like to consider. Now it's off the table. You know, and I think that, will it be on the table in the future? It might be, but with the current temperature, I think it's not the appropriate time. But it's not on Jerry, it's on us.
And this is what we've alluded to throughout this meeting, and, you know, as suggested by some members of the audience, that things came together so quickly. They happened so rapidly, and divisions and partisanship was created that made it very difficult to get to the root of some of these concerns and actually repair whatever damage seemed to be occurring. And we keep saying, if we can find a way to just calm the waters, find a mechanism to get together, to discuss these issues in depth with the appropriate people, and be totally transparent with the community. You know, we can provide minutes for meetings, let them know what's planned, what the goal is, who's going to be meeting when, and then invite people to make comment, either online or otherwise. And then perhaps at some point we can have another meeting such as this, giving people lots of notice, so that they can attend, and we can, we can celebrate what we've accomplished and what our plans are. Still going to be some issues around execution. There's still staffing issues, there's financial issues. Yeah, okay, and Loris will talk a bit about financial issues. But I just want to make sure that we all understand the purpose of this meeting is to find some way to get together without blowing the ship up.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something about all the conversations being around theatre and productions, Winds of Change, Ashley, and South Shore Summer Theatre. I just wanted to clarify that the Astor has not earned any funds whatsoever, profit, from the production of Follies. So it was basically a break even at best, and in fact, if we take into account the salary paid, we probably have lost probably $6,000 to it. But so in essence, everything we do, if you look at the show last night, the performances, the events, everything that the Astor does, the theater side of it hasn't contributed to a profit bottom line. So everything we do depends on the operations of activities, which are our shows. The second phase of our income stream is grants, provincial, federal, or whatever. And there are also donations and sponsorships, which are areas where we need to improve on. But the impact of all these conversations and talk about theater is going to be devastating on the rest of the operation, because the theater side has not generated any profit to the Astor.
And I will add to that, as we said earlier, we will not select, and Jerry will not select, productions based on their potential for profit, and only profit. If it's a good production that needs to be done, hopefully we'll make a profit. But we've expressed in the past, we will put on productions at a loss if they're appropriate. If they do the right thing for the community, bring in youth, expand the peripheral effects of bringing money into the community from outsiders and what have you. So we want to continue with that philosophy. It's not about pure profit for us in our operations, because God knows if we required our operations to pay the bill, we'd have been dead long ago. We would have been gone. When I first came on the board, we had an issue. Our line of credit was exhausted. Our credit card was maxed out. Suppliers didn't want to deal with us because we didn't have that good a track record in paying our bills. So, we've been able to turn that around very quickly. Not only are we the icon of the South Shore in productions, we're also that good in operations. We're very proud of that. And that's why it's very hurtful to us when we see all of this vitriol and rhetoric that's going online and in Facebooks attacking the whole operation improperly. That's my 2 cents worth. I just want to say that.
So, we have gone past the 4 o'clock kind of time limit, but if you'd like to have a question.
Let's keep going with the questions, Callie, until they're done. Thank you.
I won't take long, okay? I promise. My name is Sandra Atkinson. I was a teacher for many, many years. I worked in theater professionally, and I worked in theater amateurly in Ontario. Sorry, I did. And I have to brag. I have a daughter who's a director at Stratford. I have all my kids grew up with me in the theater. I stage managed, I performed, I directed, I do anything you want me to do. And they would do things too. I have a daughter who's a musical director, all of that. So I know how all of this works, and I would have companies within the theater, so with kids. And I am so thrilled that you had this meeting today. I'm not on one side or the other. I just want an olive branch to be handed out to each side, and I want it fixed. Because this is a gorgeous theater. I mean, who knew it could come and be involved in a theater when I moved to Nova Scotia just to be near the ocean? I went, wait, there's a theater here. Oh my God. Anyway, this is gorgeous and the acoustics are wonderful. I just want you to fix it. And I applaud you for being truthful, sharing your information, letting us know, letting us talk. And I applaud all the people for coming up here and saying whatever they felt they want to say. Thank you for doing this. And really just get to the table and fix it. Please.
Help us reach that understanding. We will certainly be there. Oh, sorry, Christopher Snarby, yeah. The man who needs no introduction in this theater.
Sorry, I'm going to try to keep it really short. I was away when all of the... Sorry, I'm going to turn around. I was away when all of the uproar started online, and I came home and I thought, I just need to figure this out and try to figure out what's happening. Like so many of you, I don't think anybody really knows exactly what the problems are or were, and that's a big problem in itself. There have been multiple posts by many people saying, well, what's the problem? It says, read the letter, and you read the letter and it says, I don't know, it just says we're mad, we're angry, you see words about inclusion, and we want this place to be inclusive. I'm not on the board anymore. I put my time in, and dear God, I don't ever want to go back on it, because it's the worst volunteer job you will ever have. So don't, like, you love the place, great, offer your name, but please know that it is not a fun job. But what I would say is that when I came back, my first step was I'm not going to get drawn into anything. I want to talk to the people that are involved and see what I can find out. I met with Jerry, and I was absolutely blown away by what she had to say on one point. I was here for 12 years on this board. We were always trying to raise money. It was constantly raise money, raise money, raise money. I said to Jerry, I said, oh, after all of this chaos, maybe it's time to just like let go of all of this like attitude of like, sorry, let me rephrase this here. Maybe the approach of the theater should go back to just being solely rentals and movies, and let Winds of Change do their thing, come and rent the space, be done. Maybe the Astor should get away from that. Maybe the Astor shouldn't do these productions in-house, because obviously something went wrong. Jerry wisely said to me, she said, no, absolutely not. We need to do productions in-house because that is how you raise money from foundations, major corporations, major individuals, and that is our way to financially pay for this place. So thank you, Jerry, for that part. I also want to say I offered my services to do some music coaching for the production musical. I read online words about inclusion. People aren't included. It's people, and when I walked into this place, every kid who wanted to be there was there on the stage. There were no auditions. It's the first show I've done that there were no auditions. So how can you be more inclusive than saying, come on the stage, we're gonna have fun, we'll figure out the parts along the way. I've never seen that before. It was the first time. You can't get more inclusive than that. The energy in the show is amazing. The kids are having a ball. I'm having a ball. I felt happier that night than I did for the last 3 weeks with all this going on. So I'm really excited about the production. I want to say as well that we are still welcoming other people if they'd like to join. If you want to help with sets, come talk to us. If you have kids that want to do this, we still have room. It's still open. And finally, the only other thing I want to mention too, just because I've been around a while, there were concerns from people about people being paid. Ooh, the Astor's making changes, they're paying people to do stuff. The reality is in Les Miserables, which we did in 2013, 12, 13, 14, whatever, our entire music crew was paid. They were paid. Rock of Ages, the musicians were paid. Follies, yes, Rock of Ages. Sorry.
I received a gift which I did not ask for.
Sorry.
I was not paid.
In Les Mis. Les Mis?
Yeah, I received a gift, but I did not ask for it.
No, that's right. So what I'll say, Alison, what I'll say is that Andre Haynes was paid $5,000 for that production. And the musicians in the play were given an honorarium. They were compensated for all of the efforts they put in. I suppose if you didn't want it could have been donated back, and maybe you did, that's fine. What I'm saying is there has been a history in this community of paying professionals for their time to do the job. It happened in Rock of Ages, it happened in Follies. This is not a new thing. It still keeps the show an amateur production, but sometimes you have to pay professionals to do the job. If we didn't pay Andre Haynes to come down from Halifax and do the music for that show, it would not have happened. We had members in that show that came from Halifax. Javert came from Halifax. He was the only person who was qualified for that role. Our Cressette came from Windsor. Anyway, I'm not going to stand here any longer, but let me just say that this community has always been welcoming to people from all over the place. I hope it continues.
I'm going to turn this way because I want to introduce myself. I am Cynthia Black. My husband and I bought a home here 2.5 years ago. And I was so excited to find this beautiful theater. And so I do the production that happens at Christmas time here. And it made me very sad over the last bit to just hear the controversy that's been happening. And I could very clearly see, because when you're new, it's a little easier maybe to see things objectively and to see that there was a lot of lack of communication and lack of clarity surrounding things. And I think so much of what has happened has resulted really as a lack of some clarity. And I could point to specifics, but I won't. But I can see that that's a very important thing. So I think it's so important, if you have questions, that you go to the right people to get the answers. I think this meeting today and the fact that the board called this meeting is a really positive step, because when all that's happening is all of these emotions running around, that really doesn't help us get to solutions, I don't think. So I want this little theater to be here for a really long time. And I want to tell you that I've made a personal commitment to the theater, and I'm going to encourage all of you to do the same. The theater needs to survive, and it needs money to survive. So the staff will confirm that I come in every month, and I bring a donation in every month. And thank you, but I do it because I want the theater to do well, and I hope maybe others will follow suit and come in with a monthly donation. It doesn't matter how small it is. The other thing I've been trying to do is find the ways in which I can help the theater. So I've noticed that the chairs needed to be cleaned, for example. So I bought a steam cleaner, and I bought what I needed, and I've begun. I'm as far as row N on that side. Those of you who don't throw to the back, you're in clean seats. So there are lots of things around the theater that can and need to be done, and volunteer labor really helps a theater like this. So I love it already, and I'm new. I can only imagine how deep the roots go for all of you. And I'm sure that every talented person is welcome here. I know these people have made me feel very welcome from minute one when I walked in. So thank you for all the support, and thank you to all of you for doing this today.
Taking the seats, volunteerism at its best. And you know, we can't say enough how we support and are supported by our volunteer corps. Anne is our volunteer chair, and it gets to be a challenge sometimes to get people out for all of the events, but she does it. And when people don't fill in, she calls on one of us. We're quite happy to sit in the canteen or the bar or do whatever is necessary. So that's the level of our commitment as well. We've actually reached the end of our allotted time. Was there another question? Okay. We'll do two more, and then we'll turn it over to the online questions.
Hi, I'm Allison. I just want to say, for the record, because I love Christopher to death, this is not a criticism of Christopher. I will play in this room for any group, at any point, for any number of hours, for free. I did 20 hours a week for 6 months with Follies. And I received no money for it, nor did I want any money for it. And the concern that I have is that I found out online that my services were no longer needed for Oliver Jr. because it was now Seussical, and nobody communicated with me directly. And I just want to say, so you guys, I try not to post things on social media. You keep saying, call us, ask us, call us, ask us. People have been calling, people have been asking, and it's a little disingenuous to say Thursday night's meeting was canceled, it was a snowstorm. And I know you keep saying it. I feel like there's a real standoff happening where we are asking questions and we keep getting meetings moved or canceled or hearing radio silence. So yes, we're bringing an elephant gun to a rabbit hunt, I guess, but that's because it's the only way we seem to be able to get any kind of response. I would have liked just a simple email saying, we are sorry that Oliver Jr. fell through, because Facebook doesn't post things in order either, so that was the first thing I saw. That was the first thing I saw. We're sorry Oliver Jr. fell through, Seussical is now happening. I asked questions and got kind of like quotes from the bio. I know Seussical, I did Seussical, I know Seussical. I played for Seussical. We're all in Seussical. All of us, family event. So, I mean, I don't care. I want Seussical to go ahead. I do. Kids should be acting. I'm really pleased, Malcolm, that you stepped up and did this. I think that's really lovely. I've known Malcolm an incredibly long time. So, I don't know you. You don't know me. A lot of people in this room know me. And when Betsy talks about 100 days, I was here for a month. You were here for a month.
Yeah.
We met once.
Okay, sorry, I'm just a little confused, but, and some of your words are getting swallowed, so I'm not sure I heard everything, but I think there's some misunderstanding. You're more than welcome to be involved in Seussical. We would love to have you.
So is there like a piano piece to that, or are you doing piano music? Like,
I'm playing piano right now with him, so if you want to join us.
So okay, because I've never had to apply.
I would love that.
I've never had to apply to do a show. Never, not once.
No, there's no application needed.
Well, there was the resume kind of piece, and I was just like, the whole thing's been such a mess. I feel like there's really very little there needs to be better communication between the people who do theater in the building and the people who are running the building. And I feel like when I look at this, and I know Malcolm, that's who I know on stage. And that's who I know on stage. Like, I feel like, okay, yes, we did have a pandemic and all that stuff, but we just did a musical here, and I don't know any of you. I think we really do need more communication.
Yeah, so just to your point, and so that we can sort of go to the next question, please, Allison, come anytime to the theater. Come and meet us and talk to us. Our doors are wide open. If there's anyone you want to get to know better, we would love to get to know you better. I'm really sorry that there was a misunderstanding. You're more than welcome. Everybody is more than welcome. We would love to have you.
But were people informed that Oliver was not happening, like people who were involved?
So Oliver Jr. was decided on before I started the position. And it was Ashley's decision to do Oliver Jr., and out of respect to Ashley, when she resigned, we gave her the opportunity to do it herself. And that was the decision.
So how did you choose Seussical then? Because that was her first musical in this building.
I particularly networked with the executive director of Theatre Nova Scotia, who just did an extensive survey of audiences across the province to find out what they want. And he said, we need, audiences want theatre for generations, to bring grandfathers, to bring parents and grandkids to the theatre. And so we chose Seussical based on that.
So I have one follow-up. Who is Susical licensed to specifically? Like who owns the
Music Theatre International. We
No, I
paid
know,
the
but
rights.
okay, but who paid for the license?
We did, the Astor.
The Astor Theatre Society?
Correct.
Okay.
So if you want to know the numbers associated with that, so the rights were paid for Oliver Jr., and when we called Music Theatre International to tell them that we would no longer be doing Oliver Jr., they credited us, and we paid a little bit more for scripts. But it was
No,
not a
that's
whole
like,
lot.
that answers my question. This is information I would have liked to have had. Like,
Yeah,
this is why I'm
absolutely.
asking a question because I want an
Yes.
answer.
Sure, and I'm not getting defensive, I'm just saying
Okay,
that
good,
wide
good.
open to ask these questions anytime. If you want to give me a call, or if you want to talk to Katie or Malcolm, yeah, please come and ask these questions. It's better than having the wrong information.
Fair enough, yeah, thank you.
Also, just to touch on that a little bit, Alison, in regards to the big question of the lack of communication that's happening right now, we have been every day struggling to come in and find a way to make communication happen between both sides. When I don't like to say sides because it's not sides, you know. We've been coming in every day, working our hardest, working long hours, coming in on our days off to do things to try to make that work. But every day there seems to be a different obstacle that we have to navigate, and it gets a bit it gets a bit hard to find a straight and narrow path to get that happening when there's still so much conflict happening, and we need to find a resolution to make that work, to get the communication going. And we're really trying, and I can attest to this. I mean, I've had to learn so much about bylaws and about the board. I'm 22 years old. I didn't know what a bylaw meant until
No.
Like
I said, you're the one I know.
But
Because I taught you.
on a personal note, I've been learning a lot about this, and we're trying our best to make the communication happen. Yes, we're failing at some aspects of that, but we are gaining on others, and I think both sides are lacking that form of communication, and I think what we're going to work towards in the next little bit is making sure that every decision made and every conversation had is known to everybody. There is complete transparency, because up till this point, there has not been complete transparency between either groups or organizations about this. So I think if we pave this as a two-way street and we both take action to make sure that we are informing each other of everything that's happening, then we will get this resolved. We will find a resolution and we will come to a happy ending.
Because just on piggyback on that, because it's good. You know me, I'm friends with you, and I hope I'm still friends with Christopher, and I hope I'm still friends with Kim, and I hope I'm still friends with Ashley. And we all work together as a group, and for many, many years, through many productions. And Follies was great because I saw kids that I taught on stage being adults, and I sat next to kids I taught in band being adults, and I have been in this community for 20 years, and my husband was born here. And he worked with John Bird, and he built parts of this set, like Betsy. When Betsy got up there, I went, oh good, it's Betsy. Because, and I know Betsy, if you don't know Betsy, you like go, oh well, but we know Betsy, so we know she's not being disrespectful. And we love her, and we love her. And we are actors, and we are theater people, and we are dramatic. And when people are dramatic, dramatic things happen. And I think when we're part of the theater, we all have to remember, we're actors, and it's drama. And it's but we're also communicators. We're also great communicators. And I think it really has to be, I think there's a real fear. I know I've heard a real fear that certain people are not going to be allowed to be on this stage. And that's a real trigger. And I hope that never happens. I hope that people from our community who love and want to work here are always welcome in this building.
Always, always. I just want to make one more comment. When I came on the board I guess I'm going on 5 years now, we're not just talking the Astor Theatre, we're talking the Town Hall Arts and Cultural Center, which is all the other space in this building. And when I came on the board, that was run by the municipality. They still own the Town Hall Arts and Cultural Center. There was an Indigenous Arts in the gallery out front, and then that sort of folded, and we brought that into the fold as well. So we now manage all the town hall arts and cultural space, which there's lots of good stuff going on there. The point I want to make is that we have 3 staff, and we still have 3 staff. And those staff, in addition to dealing with all of what's going on, they have to still manage all of that as well as productions and these various things. So it's added more and more to their plate. You know, so we're very careful with their money. We don't hire more people to do this, but people need to understand they have a lot on their plate. We've added more to their plate. And this is, you know, it's just something that you need to be aware of. They're trying their best to communicate, to do all A to Z, and sometimes as volunteers and as staff that are working long hours, many of them 70 hours a week, you know, they get paid for half of that. That is, it's tough. It's tough, and everybody is doing their best.
Thanks, Anne. One final comment I'd like to make on that subject, and I see we're starting to lose quite a few people, so we'll turn it over to some of the online questions for a few minutes. But many of you don't know my background, but for many years I managed or owned team-based companies where various teams in various offices across the country had to come together to produce their product, provide the service, and all of that. And I can say now without any contradiction that the team of Jerry, Katie, and Malcolm are the best I've had by far. They're the ones, if given a fair chance, will take us into the future and open doors that we never thought could be opened.
Okay, I'm going to start with one from Sue. Could you please give a concise summary? We'll turn this way. How's that? So this one's from Sue. Could you please give a concise summary of the role of the executive director as it would appear and the current person has decided to include artistic director into this position, which was certainly not been the case in the past?
Well, not at all. We have a situation where Jerry has come in. There were certain gaps in things that needed to be done. And she, of necessity, dropped down to do some of those things, such as directing a play. And there was some discussion at the time over, you know, how that transpired and what was done.
Katie and Jerry sit together just as Katie and Jean did before, and they look at what program is coming up, what do we want to have at the theater, where do we get grants for, you know, what are our applications and grants to run certain types of programs. They have to take all those things into consideration in determining what we need here at the theater, what we want to see at the theater. That's always been that way. You know, it was with Jean, it was with people before that. If you're talking about that being the artistic direction of the theater, that's what they do. Jean did it as well. Jerry does it as well. We're not talking about being the director of a play or the director of a production. You know, that's usually we hire for that, we pay for that, we get that. So I just want to clarify the artistic direction of the theater has always been part of the role of the executive director.
Yeah, the follow-up was, I was just going to say that we kind of already answered that. It was just Winds of Change and Mersey Rose Theater and how it fits in, and we talked about the merger and how it wasn't exactly the right word. And when I'm looking down some of these lists of questions, it looks like a lot of them, Kyle, have already been answered, just in the interest of time and everybody's Sunday. There is one here that I found quite interesting, and that is the Liverpool International Theatre Festival, and how how that fits in and how things are going with that. I'm so new that I don't know a whole lot. I just do know that the executive director of the Liverpool International Theatre Festival is Jean Robinson Dexter, and have the utmost confidence in her ability to organize and do all that. As far as a production out of the Astor Theatre for the festival, we have been in conversation about that, and I still think that that's in the beginning phases of it. We're really excited about having the festival again this year, and I think it's going to be fantastic, and hope that everybody can come out and support. Yeah, I think that's the only other question.
Yeah, and what we can do as well, seeing as we're trying to save the time, is these can also be answered again, and as you all heard, most of these have been covered, so you can see it and you can enjoy the rest of the day.
And we have some closing remarks from John.
Thank you. I'd like to thank our team, the board, and the staff, and our moderator for being here and working so diligently to try and open up the channels of communication and explain our story. And we're committed and dedicated to continue that. We would encourage everybody, the box office is open. If you're not currently a member, please stop by, pay your $5 and become a member. You decide the future of this organization. It's as simple as that. We report to the members. The staff reports to us. But we can only be effective if we're executing your wishes in the long haul. We provide a strategic plan. We get it out there. We're currently in the throes of updating it. It's been a bit of a process because of resource issues. But once our strategic plan gets out there and is publicized, you can take a look at it and say, okay, does that fit with my concept of what the Astor should be moving forward? And then express your interest or lack of interest, or any changes you might like to see, and all of this is subject to moderation and course correction. If you wish, the board will stay behind and answer questions individually. We'll just come down here. We'll make us feel like the rock stars that do that. Unfortunately, we don't have any merchandise out there for you to buy, but we'll be happy to interact with you one-on-one. And thanks again for coming.